read books on the battle, when you're studying a phase of the battle, it's much like a jigsaw puzzle. Oh, wrong way. Except the pieces are missing. A lot of pieces are missing. And you don't know how many pieces are missing, and you will never know what the spot that's missing looks like. And all we are doing is working with a few accounts, and we are trying to piece together what that missing area is like or looks like. And it's sometimes a challenge. It is so easy to fill in the missing pieces with misinformation. So we have to be very careful. And what I like to do when I'm reading about the battle, or when I'm studying the battle, or a phase of the battle, is I always want to know what it is that we don't know. I could care less about what we know. We know what we know. Of course, sometimes we argue about what we know and what it means, but there's so many things we don't know about the battle, and I'm much more interested in the things we don't know than the things we actually know about the battle. So that's always been my approach to this. So there are three common problems that I like to refer to when we're studying the Battle of Oak Ridge. One of them is today, the appearance of Oak Ridge is not the same as it was at the time of the battle. And it is greatly altered. And we'll talk about that in a moment. And we don't have photographs of that area prior to it being altered. And we only have a couple accounts that talk about the terrain and how it was changed. So we have to examine the way the hill looked at the time of the battle if we're going to try to understand the fighting that occurred there. The monuments. The monuments today on Oak Ridge, like for instance, here is the alignment of Baxter's brigade from a map that was in one of the early issues of Gettysburg magazine. And not coincidentally, the units along Oak Ridge where it says Baxter's brigade are positioned in the exact alignment as the monuments are placed there at the moment. And this same alignment of Baxter's brigade is shown on John Batchelder's isometrical map of the battle. So in 1863, John Batchelder gave us an alignment for the units on Oak Ridge for Baxter's brigade. And that alignment has been continuously used through the period of the monument and even by map makers today. And I think it's obvious that the monuments are not in the right place. Extremely obvious. In the charge from Baxter's brigade against Iverson's brigade, the 97th New York captures the flag of the 20th North Carolina, and the 88th New York capture the flag of the 23rd North Carolina in the same charge. So obviously that cannot be happening. And all you had to do was start reading the accounts by the veterans. In the National Tribune in the 1890s, the 97th New York, specifically Captain Isaac Hall, gets into a serious argument with members of the 12th Massachusetts about the charge itself. And in the accounts that your two units are writing, they agree that those two units were side by side in the charge. Look how far the monuments are from the 97th and 12th Massachusetts. The monuments are in the wrong place. Yet, to this day, these map makers who steal stuff from other map makers still put the units the way the monuments are. There's nothing that we could say to get through to the map makers to stop putting the units in the wrong place. The map makers are not historians. They make maps. They just take stuff from other people. And the thing about the fighting Oak Hill is people just continue to take the information from other people, just, throughout the story. And then the third thing is, what is thought to be common knowledge concerning the Battle of Oak Ridge is actually common fiction. And we'll talk about that and why I say that coming up. The same interpretation of Oak Ridge and the fighting there that was originally given to the battle has just continually been used. And it's been used for so long that people have a hard time getting away from this. And I realize when I say this that I usually am one who doesn't like reinterpretation of battlefield facts. I hate when somebody says that Ziegler's Grove was the aiming point for Pickett's charge. If you want to start a fight with me, that's a good way to do it. Or, I hate when somebody's trying to reinvent the battle. But here, there's always just been this proclivity to just continue to tell the same version of events when I think we have pretty good evidence it's not a good version of events. So what I want to do now, though, is talk a little bit about the appearance of the ridge. So I'm sure everybody knows that we have a map of the battlefield. It's called the Warren Map. And it was surveyed by the Army Corps of Engineers in 1868 and 1869. It was basically over the course of two summers, early summer into late fall in 68 and 69. And, when you look at the Warren Map and we look at photographs of it, we realize that they are surveying the battlefield 5 years after the battle. They're not attempting to draw the battlefield as it appeared at the time. There are changes that the battlefield has undergone in the 5 years from the time of the fighting to the time the map was made. We know that. But we don't know how accurate this portion of the map is because there are no photographs of this area to compare it with. But I always say that the Warren Map, without any other evidence, should be our Bible as to what the battlefield looked like at the time of the battle, because it is the earliest source material we have. And without the existence of other evidence, we must use it. So this is what Oak Ridge looks like. Here, went the wrong way. Here is a map from Google Maps, Google Earth, looking at the Oak Ridge, the area of Oak Ridge, about 2 miles northwest of the town. Let's say a mile northwest of the town, if you like. And what I did is I sort of made an overlay. I don't know how well you can see that. And certain things on the overlay line up really well. Like, for instance, the fence line that runs along the woodlot just south of Iverson's Pits lines up really well. And the entrance of the McLean farm lane on the Mummersburg Road lines up really well. So I lined up those 2 points and the contour lines along the ridge. And what you see is that the modern Park Road is nowhere in the modern stone walls on the map do not compare to the fences that were there or the hillside that was there at the time. And of course, this is a little bit troubling. And the basic story is that this was just a bunch of open fields at the time of the Civil War. In 1873, in the 1870s, a guy named Robert Sheaves built a house along that ridge. And a farm lane was put in through the field leading to his new house. Robert Sheaves did own a piece of open farmland out here at the time of the battle. He owned an open field. Does everybody know that near the peace light there is a plaque that talks about, it's Daniel's brigade plaque, and it says that his unit moved towards Sheeds Woods. Sheeds did not own any woods, and it shouldn't be called Sheeds Woods. It's a term that was kind of put on that plaque in the early 1900s when Robert Sheeds did own those woods. So they're not using a term that's, a Civil War time period phrase. But what happened was that road that is the modern avenue was put in at that time. In 1883, like 10 years later, 20 years after the battle, a guy named William Gwynn built a farmhouse. And we're going to show you in a minute, but Sheeds' house is basically down here, and the Gwynn house is basically over here. And so here's the modern avenue, which is called Doubleday Avenue, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. We'll see. And then, of course, this avenue that runs down here. And that's Robinson Avenue, if I'm not mistaken. And Robinson's monument's right there. And here's the observation tower. Do you see how there is a bunch of trees or brush or bushes along the area out in front of the avenue? And according to the accounts, there's a broken down stone wall there. So this stone wall and those trees are moved.